Okay, so moving on to the next phase of the project is the rebuilding the front brakes. So let me show you around here a little bit. And before we get to that, let's talk about maybe a little bit of the difference between the OSCA brakes versus the Fiat 1200 brakes. So there's a difference. Some of the OSCAs came with disc brakes, and some of them came with drum brakes. The gray car that I've shown you before that I'm using as my, the car that I'm kind of rebuilding, which is the OSCA Spider, that came with the drum brakes. So I've made the decision to go ahead and leave it as stock with the drum brakes instead of upgrading it to a disc brakes. We'll see how that works out. Can always upgrade to disc brakes in the future if I feel there's a need to, but these should be fairly adequate. So let me show you, let's talk a little bit about the difference. So the OSCA brakes are different in a few different ways. First of all, it's a larger diameter drum, so the brakes are bigger than the 1200 brakes. And of course, it's got the 5 bolts for the 5 lug nuts, which take the 15-inch wheels versus the 14-inch wheels that we find in the 1200. So and also the Fiat 50, some of the Fiat 1500s. So, but anyways, so that's one difference. Larger brakes overall. And again, these are front brakes that we're talking about. So now the other major difference is, as you can see, there are 2 wheel cylinders, 2 brake wheel cylinders, where the Fiat 1200 brakes, the drum brakes, only have 1, which you find in most cars, right? The bottom, it would be fixed, and then you have a double piston wheel cylinder that pushes out on the top of the brake shoes. But anyway, so this is a different design completely. It has 2 wheel cylinder. Now, one of the problems that I had off the bat is I wanted to get all new rubber goods or all new wheel cylinders, but I found out that they're not available any longer. So the only choice I had is to rebuild the wheel cylinders that I have. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, also, the rubber goods, the seals and the rubber goods for the inside of those wheel cylinders also are not available. However, Tio helped me out a lot. Some of you guys probably know who I'm talking about. If you have worked on any of these cars in the past, you know who he is. He's a supplier of these parts. He does a very good job. So anyways, Tio was able to find these wheel cylinders or these rebuild kits that go into the single cylinder, but they are the same diameter as a single piston cylinder. So basically what he told me, that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays, are just using the parts from the dual cylinder or dual piston and using them into the single piston cylinders. So anyways, looks like everything is going to work. I already sized everything and looks like it would work. So anyways, so we got some new parts from Tio, got some new brake shoes, got some new hoses, got some new parts to rebuild the wheel cylinders, and so there we go. The other thing I wanted to mention is, of course, since it has 2 wheel cylinders, you have these tubes in the back of the backing plate that connect the 2 wheel cylinders together. Okay, now, so the next problem I ran into, as I'm starting to take everything apart, is, of course, here's the wheel cylinder, and of course I'm trying to get this piston out of it, right? And of course the piston is frozen in there, and I let it sit for a couple days with the WD-40 in there, and tried several different ways to get the wheel cylinder or the piston to come out, and I couldn't get it out. I put pressure inside of it, and so and then it has these this little part in here that is supposed to line up with the brake shoe. So I thought maybe I'll just kind of pry on here, but the first thing that happens is this comes right out because it is just swedged in there, or it's kind of pressed in there. So this comes out. So I'm going to show you what I did, what I had to do in order to get these pistons out of there. And maybe you guys would, if you need to, maybe you can kind of see what I did, and in the future, you can use the same method as I did. Now, one of the things that I have to tell you is, I pretty much ruined the piston, but it didn't matter because I have the new pistons that I got from Tio that I'm going to put in there. So I really didn't care if I ruined that piston or not. Okay. So anyways, let me show you what I did.